Oh, hey everybody, this is Retrokid Reviews doing not really a review, but my first ever editorial on why I think RE3 is not that disappointing than it looks. And you all thought it was going to be 13 Reasons Why. With a loader like this, no, not really. So, in case you can tell, this is my closest I'll ever get to, I guess, UBC, whatever the hell they called Brilla's tactical division during the mainline game for RE2 remake timeline, I guess. As a standard operating procedure, this is an editorial, meaning over time, and if I get good with my editing, fingers crossed, keep in mind, I could probably turn this into a video essay series, podcast, or basically whatever. It's not outright replacing retro writers, but for right now, it's not a bad idea. So, with that out of the way, let's get to my quick thoughts on just the Resident Evil series. For the uninitiated who is new to the channel, first of all, hi, how are you? I have a very long, putting it mildly, relationship with the RE series, more specifically the live-action movies and the games. My quick rundown, I had a fear of the franchise, game-wise, before the first movie. Got over it, mainly go to therapy now for anger management, personal life stuff there. Also, since this is an editorial, I can calm down, talk a little more about why I like the franchise and why it's a love-hate relationship with me. For those who've seen me and Jason's reviews of the movies and leading up to the final chapter at the time, playlist up there. More or less, it's fine. I thought the first two movies were actually okay until I played the remakes, where I don't know how I did this. I think it was early in the quarantine when I was getting resting and getting recovered. I kind of noticed that the first two movies don't line up at all with the actual mainline game. And I mean, I noticed later on with other characters and stuff from like four through on. And I don't really know from then on. My personal opinion on RE2 remake itself, I actually loved it. It's a really good remake. I highly recommend buying it if you get the chance. Not physically now, but through digital. If you bundle it with RE3, it makes sense. Because, yeah, the actual remake for RE3, aka Resident Evil Nemesis, is kind of a bonus game. It just feels like a bonus game. It just feels like an expansion. And Resistance 2, like, they don't merit the $60 price tag, because honestly I feel like that in 3's case it should have had any of the bonuses they had back in the OG game. I think Spear Hunter went on and on about that, and I will be mentioning a lot of Let's Players who have played the game. My favorite one was the completionist, because he had a fun time exclaiming how like legitimately serious Nemesis was. But unfortunately in this game he was only serious for like 2 sections of Raccoon City, and then the rest of it was mainly boss fights. Like, he was supposed to be, like, next up, like, the next level of, like, intensity that Mr. X was in the RE2 remake. But I feel like everyone, that a reversal happened, that Mr. X finally became the more aggressor one and was random, and, yeah, he was a little predetermined, but not by much compared to the OG game. Like, you could still get caught off guard, even when you're playing on the best difficulty, or you speedrun it to the point that you know what you're doing on RE2. At this point now, where I am playing with the game, I'm playing hardcore. I know there's Inferno. I know there's the same for RE3 remake. For hardcore, I feel like I got neutered. Honestly, like, there's no ink ribbons whatsoever. I'm almost certain there's not gonna be ink ribbons in Inferno Insane, unless somebody in the comments want to explain to me that there probably is. The fact that that's MIA throughout all those difficulties means I can survive it just fine, and I'm a crappy speedrunner or just going through the motions with a usual RE game. Like, hand to God, I haven't finished RE6. All story-wise, I didn't finish or at all start Ada's run or finish any of Chris's run, aka Chris, who clearly needed Cheva instead of Piers in that run. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, I mean, I could go to death about how RE6 sucks, but let's just get back to focusing on 3 in the movies. So 2 and 3 were basically, I think the second movie in the live-action franchise, Apocalypse, and honestly, I've had way too much headcanon. I was like, oh, if this character was here, he or she would have been 80 times better than Alice, because that's the God's honest truth when you compare it to live action movies. So yeah, I actually tried Resistance for like a not even 2 matches easily. It looks fine. It looks okay for like a Halloween Let's Play for anyone's doing that for Twitch. I know Dr. Terror did a couple of Let's Plays of it. Card to his, sorry, not card. Link to his Twitch down below if you guys want to follow him. He's really cool. He's a good guy. Great Twitch, not great Twitch. Great Discord, by the way. Just saying. So that all being said, what's there to say that hasn't already been said about RE3 that merits my first editorial? Firstly, this was a very big deal. RE3 was one of those games that scared the shit out of me as a kid. And it was really cool now that I could finally play this remake and take down Nemesis and exorcise the demons of my childhood. Yeah, I know it's an Ace Ventura quote. I know a lot of the jokes in Ace Ventura hasn't aged, but god damn it, I needed that. I would say, credit to that clip, I'm pretty sure that's the most specific joke out of them all, without Finkel and Einhorn. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. So yeah, that being said, I still think it's worth a try, but still being at that $60 price point, even a month after the fact of release, is a little much, to be honest with you. I would do, like everyone's probably been recommending to death, like, wait for it to be, like, $40 or less on whatever console store or you got it from, or even on PC, same thing, like, wait for it to drop $40 on, like, either Epic or Steam, same thing there. I personally played it on my PS4. I haven't seen any graphical input or problems with all consoles and all platforms because, again, from the look of what Capcom's been doing with this version of the game, they were kind of saving assets. And I guess now going to the story of RE3, it's actually pretty good. It's the best you can do with Jill in this point in the franchise. I myself think they should really do Code Veronica next, but apparently Capcom's gunning for remaking RE4, but we'll get to that in the final thoughts section of this editorial. I honestly feel like Carlos got a little, got left empty-handed with stuff. Like, he didn't get a bonus weapon at all throughout his 2 levels in the whole campaign, because I'm pretty sure he had 1 or 2 more in the OG game. I could be wrong there. Never played it, but was intimidated by it for many, many years, watching my cousins play it. So, again, that's a personal story for another time, which, again, I hope I can bring back the Retro Writers podcast so I can at least explain it in detail instead of just cutting to the chase here. Another good reason why I want to bring the editorial in here. Anyway, story-wise is good. Nemesis' new design, everyone gave a lot of flag for just bridging up the nose and making him more like a tyrant than like a usual Nemesis-type monster, which I can see why, but it wasn't really that distracting, even when I saw the leaks coming into it. After fighting him a bunch of times with his, like, devolved forms, I think they're the most distracting. I think when you get to the devolved forms, especially the final form, you could see why that nose was a little too much. So I could see that. But on the first appearance form, not so much. It's still classic-looking Nemesis enough. When he's devolving to, like, that gigantic blob, like, Hero thing pose he was doing before Jail totally ended him with a BFG, which, by the way, that is the best way for me to have therapy over that years-old childhood bullshit, which, again, correlates to why I think this isn't as bad as it looks. Keep in mind, there has been a lot of Resident Evil games that suck way more than this. Like I said, just on the mainline games alone, RE6 takes the cake as the shittier one of the franchise. Also, sorry for any kids in the room. I am going to swear this is a adult's version of the editorial. I'll try to do a cleanup one probably later down the road for like a podcast or whatever. That being said, I really don't know what else to say for Nemesis' designs. He's okay, like I said, only for the first form. It is classic looking. It doesn't borderline try to turn to the remake. It's not a remake. Live action one, which is okay at first. Then they had to like make a classic looking design just to screw over fans. Again, go do my reviews of any of the live action movies I may have talked about. I didn't do all of them, obviously. I've talked about them to death during the CG movie years as Jason. So if you want his and my opinion of that, go to that. Again, on the playlist. So, I don't know. Gameplay-wise, it's fine. And this is where a lot of people also criticized Capcom for stepping back on the assets. I think they reused the assets just fine. Specifically, all of RPD police station they were using for RE2 was here in RE3. It was a good use of assets. It made sense. After all, this game was a year back to back apart, so it made sense if they had to cut corners at least for that section. I was okay with it, but I still felt like they missed some stuff. Like the third floor was not at all used. There was really no explanation how that became a gigantic hole. Like I would have minded like a Mr. X cameo right there, but that would also require more coding, more time, more R&D. And since we were still going through COVID at the time, I assumed they didn't have time to reuse that. Maybe it was a deleted scene or whatever. Um, for Resistance, multiplayer wise, it's not bad. There's got a lot of at least decent masterminds. Like they're bringing people from not just RE2 to be the masterminds. They're also bringing, I think, Nikolai as a mastermind. For those who don't know how that mechanic works, it's basically kind of like Left 4 Dead style, except you get to like be like a jigsaw kind of character in the back, just like plotting out more traps and stuff. However I'm pitching it sounds a lot better in practice with the actual gameplay because it's a little slow, it's a little cheap. You could tell it was a different dev team working with the engine instead of the main one for the actual mainline story. Um, Overall, story wise, it was just fine. Is just I feel like Carlos got shafted on having a bonus weapon, or at least be able to use infinite weapons because I feel like he got the Ada version in RE2 Remake because at least in Ada's case, the only thing infinite she really had in that version of the game was her hack item, so it made sense not to like run around for whatever battery she needed for that. So at least that was a good use of the mechanic. Here, I honestly think Carlos got shafted. Like I said, there he had a lot of backstory with his platoon and stuff. I'm almost certain it was a little not as gutted in the actual OG game. I also, again, could be wrong. Never played it a day in my life because it was one of those things that gave me childhood fears. So that being said, I don't know. I do like the voice actors for the cast. They all did great. I think the guy who did Nikolai also voiced some of Nemesis's lines, so that was pretty cool. The guy who played Nikolai played a really shit-eating, grin kind of a villain for like human antagonist. It was really cool. Shout outs to the voice actors that played Chell and pretty much everyone. I think they all came back to do a Zoom call. Card if I could find that. I think early on in the quarantine they had a really good fun time. They also played off of everyone from the remake cast. Shout out to Sean. I hope I got his name right. Who played RE2 remake Leon because the guy really loves cosplaying Leon and since I am talking the remake franchise and RE in general, I forgot to do this when the original Leon passed away. So that being said, I'm gonna do a quick moment of silence for him. I'll leave his IMDb down below so you know which is which. So that being said, here we go. You will be missed, dude. You were really good, Leon. No jokes. Also, shoutouts to, I guess to keep things Toku around here, because I did promise a Toku review of everything so far with Zero One. Wes from Power Rangers Time Force, apparently he voice acted Leon in Damnation, or whichever was the last CG movie I reviewed. So, cards to that review if you guys want to see my quick thoughts of that, and how utterly wrong about I was with the voice acting cast there. So, yikes on my end. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Overall, like I said, the game is worth it if you're in my case and you had any old like childhood fears of like the RE franchise. If you could push through that fear and speed run like the best in the franchise, like I speed through RE5 because that was the first game I actually wanted to play and got through. It was really cool. I know everyone gives Chris shit for like the punching boulder scene. To me, that was a really cool thing, and I don't know. It helped me, get through some stuff. Here with RE3, I did get a little satisfaction taking down Nemesis, but it was kind of bittersweet knowing how everything is. Given it was a rush production, stuff like that, and I could see the disappointment. But at the same time, I still think it's a good RE game. It's not, like I said, also, like, any of the revelations bad, or any of the attempts at multiplayer bad. Yeah, Resistance wasn't their first time making a multiplayer game, and from the look of it, it's not going to be their last. But yeah, I still think it's a good game. Is it that disappointing? A little. It is going to be annoying and probably frustrating when you guys want to replay it for speedruns and get all the weapons and stuff, because I'm not kidding. I think like everyone else who also made a review of this, or in my case now an editorial, the shop is definitely worth replaying the game. It also still sucks knowing that all these infinite weapons are going to be for Jill instead of for Carlos. And also because Carlos didn't really get much bonus-wise, he only gets an alternate hair option instead of his full outfit like Jill did. Like, hell, she got her full classic outfit for not just RE3, but in RE1 if you beat the game. First time around, no less. So, what the hell? I don't know. That's just me griping about little things. I'm trying to make less of a problem than it's been the last couple of weeks. So, with that all said, I'm Retrokid Reviews, and this has been a retro editorial of why I think RE3 isn't that disappointing. And come back next time for a proper retro review of Ghost in the Shell. Which one? Well, you're going to have to find out. Till then, end card coming up, go to my copy of RE2 to see my previous video, which was, I think, a retro news, explain more about this. Go to my other hand here for a retro review, or proper review I must have did there. Vest here to sub to the channel, hit the notification bell down below if you guys actually like, this editorial idea, because again, I want to be more expansive of stuff I've already reviewed, and I don't want to like re-review it, and I feel like this is a good, template to branch off of, subject wise. That all being said, take care, subscribe, and yeah, I really still feel like Carlos needed a sub weapon, or like just one infinite weapon. Come on, Capcom, you can do better. Please, don't be 6 bad. No one wants that.